Mike Kelly, One Nation candidate for Maranoa, the only candidate driving the entire electorate and engaging with the communities. That matters. The reason it matters is that I find out things on the ground that you just do not find out in Google. One of the biggest risks I see to our rural communities is this net zero 2050 agenda. It's a global program and our governments have signed up to it. I can't believe that the Nationals themselves are promoting this agenda. When they put a camera in front of their face, they say, no, we're against it and it will affect the communities. Yet, our own Ag Minister, the member for Maranoa, David Littleproud, in February introduced legislation to be discussed that actually promotes this agenda even further. The legislation is called the Biodiversity Stewardship Market Bill, and I see it as a huge risk to our industries. Part of the agenda is to reduce meat consumption back to 14 grams a day. That's one mouthful or one soup spoon full of meat per day. It allows the big polluters to keep polluting and then offsetting the obligation of cleaning up the environment onto our farmers, who I believe are already fairly responsible stewards of their own land. It's their lifeblood of their future generations, so they will not do anything to jeopardise that. But the legislation is flawed. I've spoken with Senator Malcolm Roberts, and he will support us fully to try and block or amend this legislation if I manage to win the seat of Maranoa. I referred the legislation on to two barristers and they both come back with the same opinion. One of the concerns is there is no clarity around what you can do. There's 189 pages of legislation. They use the word relinquish over 100 times. Relinquish means to surrender. The government are assuming their position to assume a position of ownership on the biodiversity certificate. So what they're trying to do is create a biodiversity certificate that is tradable, like water rights, that is attached to the land. But there's a massive compliance agenda on that biosecurity certificate, and the compliance requirements need to meet the requirements set by the international bodies. Something that can change at any time, and we have no clarity or control over that. There's no scrutiny on the Ag Minister. The Ag Minister has pretty well full discretion as to what can and can't be done on the property. They don't even use the word farmers in the legislation. The first 60 pages look fantastic. The remaining pages outline fines of what you can, for what you can't do. Fines of up to $276,000. Both barristers said to me, what it looks like is if the government want to get control of the land, if they use compulsory acquisition to do that, that makes the government look bad. If they use this legislation to put the to be able to take control of the land, saying that they are being responsible stewards of the land because the farmer was not meeting their obligations to the climate change agenda, that is a better marketing exercise for the government. They can take control of it and make the farmer look like the victim, or the villain, I should say. It's a voluntary program, but once you volunteer into the program, it's nearly impossible to get back out. There's no clarity around who is responsible for meeting the compliance requirements. And the only person that holds the Ag Minister himself accountable is a committee that is appointed by the Ag Minister. That in itself is not arm's length, and that's not acceptable for a transparent government, which is what One Nation are trying to achieve. So we have a lot of concerns. I'd encourage you, before you get involved with that program, if it gets up, please get legal advice first, because it looks like you cannot unwind it once you volunteer in. So what does volunteer mean? Well, there's no such thing as compulsory vaccinations in this country, but you'll lose your job if you don't get vaccinated. How they do anything is how they do everything. We need to stand up and we need to protect our rural communities. We need someone with the guts to actually put the farmers and the people first before the party's agenda and these international agendas. My name is Mike Kelly. I'm the One Nation candidate for Maranoa. I look forward to receiving your vote of confidence at the ballot box.
This video is authorised by Mike Kelly, One Nation candidate for Maranoa, 87 Yangan Killarney Road, Yangan, Queensland 4371.